We got Vicente Luque, who's going to be taking on Rafael dos Anjos in the main event of UFC Fight Night on August 12th. Vicente, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, a pleasure to be here and very excited for this upcoming fight.
Absolutely. And this fight was supposed to be scheduled on July 15th. Were there any talks of, a different opponent, or was it always going to be Rafael?
No, it was always going to be Rafael. It was just about, getting cleared totally to fight by the commission in Vegas, but all went good and we're ready to go.
Yeah, and we got to touch on that quickly. I know there was that talk of a possible brain hemorrhage in the fight with Geoff Neal. How scary was that when you heard that news? Because obviously that's something that, when you're talking about the brain, it's always very serious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's just part of the business. I put myself at the risk, of things like this happening, and it's not common. It's not something that is common, but at the end of the day, I'm 100% healthy. I got cleared by three different specialists and neurologists. So, I'm 100%. That's the most important thing, and excited to go in there and put on a show.
When you initially heard the news, were you worried at all that this might be something that could impact the future of your career?
Initially, yeah. So right after the fight with Geoff, it was something that I was kind of concerned if it was going to affect or not. The ability for me to get cleared to compete and everything. But everything went really, really well. The doctors did all the exams they needed to do, and they saw that I was 100% fine. And that was, I think, the biggest thing. Having a lot of attention by the UFC, by my manager, everybody helping and working together to make sure that I was 100%. So I did have like a little concern, but everybody was helping me. Everybody was there and making sure that I was taken care of. So the whole process was really good, and everything worked out at the end.
What did you take away the most from that performance against Geoff Neal? Never fun to talk about a loss, but I know there's always lessons learned in a fight like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing was to realize that I'm a human as every other fighter. I've relied on my chin for a long time. And even though I heard a lot of people and people, would say, hey, maybe, you got to work some head movement, work some different things in striking. I I did consider that, but I always thought like, but what I do works, and I go in there and I strike against these guys, and I just impose my will. I'm a tough guy. I have hard hands. I can just go in there and do what I do. And now with all this, I started to look at things in a different way. And what I realized is, yeah, I'm a tough guy, and I will always be, especially because that's my mindset. That's how I work. That's how I was raised, to be tough. But more than that, I have skill, and I have a lot of undeveloped skill. And it's kind of in a way, it's me going against myself not to develop that skill, not to develop my full potential. And that's what I learned from this fight. Hey, I got to work even harder than I'm used to, and go and work on the things that I kind of like left aside. Maybe I was lazy of doing, like, okay, footwork and head movement and all this, and study and learn more and develop new techniques. These were things that sometimes, like, I knew that I could do, but I just trusted what I did, and that was good. But now I saw, no, I have much more, and I can be an even better fighter, even more entertaining, even more exciting if I develop this and go out there and fulfill my full potential. And that's what I'm doing now.
How excited were you when you found out you'd be fighting Rafael dos Anjos, as someone who's Brazilian? I'm sure that's quite the honor to get to fight someone like him, former champion.
Man, that's an amazing fight. I was super excited because I was at that point, like, I was looking for a fight back, maybe two or 3 months ago, and I knew I wanted to fight July or August, but I had no idea who I was going to fight against. I'm coming off two losses, so I knew that I I'm still up there in the top 10, but I don't have so much power to pick because I'm coming off two losses. So I'm going to have to, not be so picky with my fights. But a lot of guys had fights going on already. And I wanted to fight somebody that was going to move me forward, even though I'm coming off losses. I want a fight that is going to move me up there towards my goal, that is eventually to fight for that title. and I had no idea who it was going to be. And then Ali calls me and he lets me know, hey, we have this fight against Rafael dos Anjos. What do you think? And I said, man, this is amazing. This is a great fight because Rafael not only is a former champion, but for me, being a Brazilian, growing up in Brazil, I watched him before I was in the UFC. So, I saw the whole run. He overcame a lot of struggles in the beginning of his career and became a great champion. Had a great run at 170 as well, fighting for the interim belt at some point. So it was a guy that I admire. I, had him as a guy that, I took a lot of example from him, and it's an honor to fight a guy like that. And it's the kind of fight that I think that is perfect for me at this point, because a win over a guy like him is gonna move me up and put me right back into that mix, especially now with the division how it is right now.
Who have you mainly had a chance to work with this camp as far as training partners?
So I've been working a lot with Angel. Angel is a Cuban guy, Angel Alvarez. He fought in LFA last week or 2 weeks ago. Really, really good guy. Has been helping me a lot. Yusaku as well is a guy from Japan. He fights in the UFC. I think he's 22 or 23 years old. A beast, really good technical southpaw. He's gonna, be a great guy. So these two are the main guys that have been helping me a lot. Plus everybody here at Killcliff, we have so much talent, and I've been working with everybody. Logan Storley from Bellator, also Muhammad from Bellator. So yeah, a lot of good guys.
How long have you been in the U.S. for this camp?
So now I've officially moved to the U.S. So in
Oh,
February,
awesome.
I moved to Florida. Yeah, for good. That was part of a lot of things that I started changing after the last couple of fights, and just realized that I needed some more time over here at Killcliff and training with these high level guys for longer than just a training camp. Especially training here when I don't have a fight, when I don't have to think of one specific guy, be able to have the work with Henry, with Greg Jones, with Saeed, with all these guys, with all these coaches that have so much to teach me, and I was maybe not taking as much as I could from them, because I didn't have so much time here. Now I'm here for good, and yeah, since February I've been here, and then all my camp for this fight was over here.
How's your family adjusted to living in the U.S.? Because you guys were in Brazil, obviously. I know the culture and everything's a little bit different, right?
Yeah, a lot of things are different, and my son is young. He's 2 years old, so it's for him. It hasn't been that hard. He's enjoying and having fun with all this change. A lot of new things for him, and for my wife, like it's a big change, especially because all her family is in Brazil. A big part of my family is in Brazil too, and we are very, very family oriented. We're very attached to our family, but at the same time it has been something that I don't know, has kind of like made our bond even stronger, so we're even closer together because now it's just the two of us and our son here, and we get to spend a lot of time together. We get to do more things than we used to in Brazil, because in Brazil we had more things going than just fighting, and now we came in here and really focused on my career, which is what my family is about. This is what runs our family. So we're able to focus 100% on us, and be an even closer team. The three of us over here.
And I don't know if he's been there now, but I know you and Mickey Gall are friends. I found this out a little while back, because obviously you were from the U.S. originally and then moved to Brazil and all that. Has Mickey been in the gym? Because I know he's been training a little bit at Killcliff as well.
Yes, Mickey's here. He has his place here in Florida, and he's been every day in the gym, training. And recently, I was with him in his podcast, Slick and Thick, and it was really fun. And yeah, we know each other before the UFC. So
That's right.
before
Yeah.
me and him were in the UFC, we met there because my dad lives in Jersey. I was born in Jersey, and since I moved to Brazil when I was 6 years old, I would go visit my dad at least once, try to go every year, once a year, and I would spend like 40 days. So when I started training MMA, I was about 17 or 18. I was already visiting my dad, and whenever I visit him, I would look for a gym. And then I found out a gym back it was in Whippany, where Jim Miller, Dan Miller, and Mickey Gall and a lot of other guys train. It was AMA Fight Club, and that's how I got to meet him the first time. And we were just young guys, that dreamed to be in the UFC one day. And it's crazy how now both of us are there training at the same gym, being able to hang out together. And we had no idea back in the days that we would end up here.
And one of your other good buddies, just got to ask how he's doing. Gilbert Burns. I know obviously he had the tough shoulder injury in the fight with Bilal Muhammad. How's he doing? Any idea when we could see him fight again?
So I have no idea of when the plans are to get back. He's still in recovery, but it's going really, really well. So he has been improving a lot, and he's just taking his time. It was a crazy year for him. 3 fights already in the beginning of the year, so he deserves that rest, enjoy his family, and just take his time. And that's what I see he's doing. I've been talking to him, and he's doing good. He's just taking it slow, focusing a lot on his recovery, because that's a big thing. The better you can focus on that recovery, the better the comeback will be. And I think that's something that he's doing really, really well. And hopefully, maybe in a month or so, he'll be back to training, and I'll be back from my fight, so we can train a little bit together, and then from there build up, the next thing for him.
What's your prediction? How do you see the fight between you and Rafael dos Anjos going down?
Man, I see as always like a very, very exciting fight. I think that, especially because of the matchup, Rafael's a guy that has always put on good fights, has always gone in there and fights at a really high pace, and he can fight anywhere. He can strike and he can grapple. And that's not different from me. I fight at a high pace. I'm a striker and a grappler. So I see this going like I don't see it finishing quick, just because of his experience. I think it might be a longer fight, but I think it's going to be, a finish. And I believe I can finish Rafael. I can be the guy to go out there and really put the pressure on him and just, shine and do what I do, which is have exciting fights. So it's going to be the true winners of this are going to be the fans.
At the top of your division, Leon Edwards looks like he's going to be fighting Colby Covington next. Who do you see winning that potential fight? I'm sure it's going to get booked eventually.
Man, it's hard to talk, about Colby because he hasn't fought for so long. So I don't really know what to expect, if he's going to, be in the best shape or not of his career. So it's hard to see it on that standpoint. I think that Leon is on his best moment, to beat Kamaru the way he did the first time. It was a tough fight and pulled that off at the end, and then went in there and won a rematch against, for me, the best welterweights of the last years, which is Kamaru Usman. It says a lot about Leon and where he's at, so I think that I would have him as a favorite for this fight. I think Colby would have to really be the best Colby I've ever seen, and still it's going to be a tough fight. So we'll see. I have Leon on that fight.
How surprised are you that Colby got the opportunity over Bilal Muhammad?
Man, I don't know if surprise is the word. Is kind of like I think that Bilal deserves it. So it would be in my words maybe a little bit disappointing, just because I don't know, Colby hasn't fought for 2 years or almost 2 years, and I get that he was. He is a tough guy. He had tough battles against Kamaru, but he hasn't fought in a long time. And Bilal, on the other hand, has been active, beating tough guys, coming off a win against a guy that I know is one of the toughest welterweights ever, which is Gilbert Burns. So, I don't know. I would say that it's hard. It's hard in a sport standpoint. I think that Bilal is a deserving guy. The UFC has their ways to call, and to make the decisions. If they think that that's a better fight, what can we do? It's what's gonna happen, and let's hope. I'm gonna hope, to get in there somehow and jump my way into that title fight eventually.
Just had a couple rapid fire questions for you. Just the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you these questions, and you can't say yourself. Who's the best striker in the UFC?
Thompson.
Okay. Best grappler?
Best grappler, man. I would say, I don't know, Damian Maya.
Okay. Funniest fighter.
Funniest fighter. I forgot his name. The guy, he was a middleweight, then he went to light heavyweight and smiles all the time.
Uh,
It was smiling something, I think his nickname.
Sam Alvey.
Yes, Sam Alvey, exactly. Yes.
Who would you want to have dinner with? Any fighter.
Dinner with, man, I don't know. GSP.
Who would you want by your side in a street fight?
I would say Nate Diaz.
Who has the highest fight IQ?
Highest fight IQ, man. I think I would put GSP as well.
What's a dream fight you want to see?
A dream fight. Khabib against GSP.
There we go. I love it. And before we go, how's fatherhood going? You just mentioned it there. Your little guy's two years old now. How's that going? Like, it's for everyone, it's different. But I know it's obviously, it changes your mindset a little bit.
Yeah, man, it's the best thing. That's all I can say. It has been really exciting to see every moment. Every day is different. Every week is different. He changes. He learns stuff, and the way he reacts to different situations. And now, if I compare when he was one, when he was just a couple of months, it's so much, so much changes. He learns so much. That's what I think is the most amazing thing, is to really see a human being developing, more and more skills and learning things so quickly, and really becoming a person, becoming his own personal self, and that's amazing, to be able to be the one that is going to guide him through that, teach him all that I can, and all the values, so that he can be a great man one day. That's definitely changed my life, and has become, the biggest goal for me, to be the greatest example for him that I can be.